Hello, Mike. How are you doing? And welcome to the show.
Hello, Chandra. Yes, I'm good, thank you, and good afternoon to you. And always a pleasure to speak to you. Trust you had a good weekend. It probably seems a long way away for you now. It's just yesterday for me, so start of our day here, as you know. So ready to take the gloves off and go into the following week.
Absolutely. And the things are very rapidly changing again. And we keep hearing about the change in the situation with regard to pandemic. And two of the states have already declared that they will be soon getting into lockdown. Out of the 29 states we have in India, two have already declared. And I think it is a matter of time that we go back again to the same old situation. So the topic today is especially for business people, where when people say that the tough when the situation is tough, the tough starts to get going. But is it so simple? What is your opinion, Mike?
Well, I think it is that the rule is simple, which is when you get knocked down, you get back up again. Um, Sometimes that's harder to achieve, though, isn't it? And I think sometimes the more you've been knocked, the harder it is to keep getting up. But in some ways, the more you've been hit, the more times you need to get up. And each time you get up, hopefully you get up better and stronger than you got up before. Because actually, I think you learn a lot more when situations are tough than you do when situations are easy. So there's the opportunity when things are easy to get into corporate AAA, which we talked about before. The whole complacency situation sets in. You think, oh, it's good, it's always going to be this way. But when you get knocked down, that's when you learn the lessons. You understand a bit more and move forwards. Hopefully, having learnt those lessons to the next stepping stone. But I think it's not easy. And of course, when you get knocked down, if you like, the key when the going gets tough, the severity of the hit also determines the severity of or the ability to bounce back. So I think you've got to keep perspective and proportion in mind, but I think that there's a role for us all in recognizing that there are difficulties and life is not easy. And whilst we always hear about the success stories, there's an awful lot more tough ones going on out there. And I think our role as individuals and as business people is to be there to support each other. And that for me is very much what was the philosophy behind setting up ScaleUp Arena. It's a support cooperative, recognizing it's not easy. There are resources and services and aspects that you require. So helping people to optimize their next role or their next situation, I believe is vitally important. And having been a channel indirect partner, manager, and director for many years, I always have been interested in helping other people to optimize their potential, both for their benefit and for my own. So I think that it's very much we need to support each other. Business is done with people working in cooperation with each other, with good communication, connections, collaborating, and hopefully then working together to close. So I think that is the crucial factor moving forward.
Well, people say that we are very tough. We have seen the world. I know answers to all problems. I can tackle all situations. But in today's environment, Mike, what is going on? The things are not in our control. It is basically coming from the nature. It is coming from a wretched virus which is affecting the world. And because of that, there is lockdown. And since there is lockdown, industries are doing bad. And it's a ripple effect. So how do you how do you create resilience in people? In fact, the strongest of the people are now thinking that, hey, we can't get up and run again. So I think coming back to the mood point, what are the ingredients required now? And you talked about scale up arena is very important. We will come to that after you answer this question of mine.
Yeah, well, I think, it's I draw on Ernest Shackleton's story. The guy who was stuck in the South Pole for, I think it was 15 months, and his boat was iced up. And I remember reading a book about it, and there were three things that for me stood out that enabled him to cope with that very tough, challenging, uh, unpleasant situation: endurance, endeavor, and endearment. And I think endeavor, both from two situations. Endeavor is all about keep working, keep moving, keep doing things, keep your mind active. I think everybody in his crew had a role to play, some work to do to keep them busy, keep their mind on positive matters, things they had to achieve. So I think endeavor is important. We mustn't give up and just sit in an armchair and think, oh no, things gone all wrong. Then I think endearment is vital. Already mentioned about the people aspect, that endearment, keeping the team working together, communicating well, recognizing that there are going to be times when people feel more down than others and they need to be lifted up, and there are others who are going to maybe bounce and they need to be supporting those who are struggling. So I think endearment is another one, and obviously endurance. The last thing you can do is give up, because one thing's for sure, if you don't aim at a target, you're never going to hit anything. So I think those for me are the three keys to keeping going: endearment, endeavor, and endurance.
I think you've summarized very well, Mike. In fact, I want to talk about the scale-up arena, and I think you mentioned that we have to succeed together. That means we need to work together, and we don't have to look at the boundaries of various countries, and we have to circumvent whatever struggles that we have individually. We need to share with each other. So, what is that the scale-up arena brings on the table for people like us, especially people who are tough but struggling to get up?
Yeah, I think it's again, for me, it's about those 5 C's we've mentioned. It's all about connecting, communicating, cooperating, collaborating, and closing together. We don't live as islands, as individuals or businesses. We actually coexist within an ecosystems, the business ecosystem, which spreads across the world. So we're simultaneously in a communication ecosystem, we're in a business ecosystem, you're in the Indian ecosystem, I'm in the UK ecosystem. So we all coexist with each other. And the important thing is to make those 5 C's work. So to be there to support. So I've also run this thing I call an executive therapist chair, which is, rather than the psychoanalytical side, this is talking with leaders about their own particular challenges, discussing those on a safe and confidential, but also a cooperative basis, with a view to, a problem shared is a problem halved. So if you've got a problem, you've got a challenge, it's got to be worth talking it through, and there are other ways to perhaps support. And then that's where the sort of 5 pillars of ScaleUp Arena come in, helping maybe with funding and finance, or helping with partnering, joint venturing in M&A, helping with showcasing the product succinctly, making it easy to use, also developing markets and skills, and finally providing access to experts with particular specializations that can support. So I think those 5 pillars are still key. They may be able to help these people who are struggling, and signposting the right people at an affordable price may well help. So I think those things are key. Obviously, communication is important, and I think the other opportunity with ScaleUp Arena is when all people are contributing, that gives a pot of money to share, to market effectively and to promote effectively. So my vision there is that if you're spending £50 to £100 a month to be part of the ecosystem, that money is being utilized with the other ecosystem engagees, and that pot becomes maybe £1,000 a month for marketing. So you put in 50, you put in £100, and that actually becomes worth £1,000 that we co-promote the ecosystem of the shop window, so that people hear about it, come and find, have more opportunities to find your product. A bit like an online department store. There's a lot of brands within a department store that you would never have heard of if they weren't possibly in, the I don't know, the Walmart or the Argos or the Debenhams, or so the idea being, if we all share I call it crowd market, if we all crowd market together, we get more out of it together. So that the shout is louder. And that's one of the other key aspects, I think, to ScaleUp Arena moving forwards, is going back to that model of doing PR marketing, crowd marketing effectively, collectively.
Well, Mike, I know ScaleUp Arena. In fact, you have done a great job by bringing the different ecosystems together and offering services like M&A and funding, etc. But the biggest challenge today is the finding clients for everyone. So Indians would need clients in UK, UK would need clients in India, and vice versa. A cross-border trade must happen in order to justify the business, especially the SME arena. So in that case, the BNI network has been around for a number of years now. So is it something that you bring to the SME segment, which is different from BNI? Because even BNI charge a membership fee, a monthly or an annual membership fee. So how ScaleUp Arena is different from BNI network?
Well, I think BNI tends to be fairly localized, and also I think BNI tends to therefore have fairly, the people involved with it have their own particular thing, but they don't actually collaboratively work together. They're all individuals. What we're trying to do is forge links with organizations that can co-support. So I, for example, I'm running a course in a few weeks' time around business development, scaling up for emerge ups, the growing companies. And part of that is going to be saying, well, if you're interested in partnering or joint venturing or going into it, I'm running a section on that, which is basically helping people to identify, should we be doing this? What's it going to involve? What were our expectations for it? So I think, BNI doesn't provide that educational component. It doesn't provide necessarily the practical assistance. What BNI does is has a virtual meeting or a face-to-face meeting, people chat, and they refer people to each other. But ultimately, this is I think it's more around the support environment. So providing access to, signposting. It's around those 5 C's: connecting, collaborating, communicating, cooperating, and closing. And I think that's a differentiator.
Excellent, Mike. In fact, this is just a precursor, viewers. In fact, there are more to ScaleUp Arena. There are a lot of things which are within the layers of the services offered by ScaleUp Arena. But just in case, if you want to reach out to Mike, you can write to us or you can reach out to him directly. Mike, my last question would be regarding, the toughness of the business resilience. Now, in today's situation, how people will identify what is sellable in that country and what is sellable in my country. So when we are part of a single ecosystem, say for instance, ScaleUp Arena, is there a model like a stock exchange where people know exactly this I can buy and this I can sell on the stock exchange? Is something that is available on ScaleUp Arena?
Well, I think the important thing to note there is obviously each product and each market is going to have different requirements, and the key to that is identifying the right people to work with. And there's, you know, you've got to ensure that you're working, I think, in partnership with companies. I personally believe there's no point in the early stages of developing a new geography or looking at the India market to go there on your own, set up a subsidiary and try and do it from scratch. My view is the way to go into that marketplace is to work with someone local, be that an agent on a free base. You know, an agent is the simplest model. A reseller, a partner, a joint venture or an acquisition. That's the way to go. But you have then to, again, this is something else I cover in a course, is how you ensure that the partner you're choosing is going to be the right fit. You know, is the pricing model the same? Is their service model the same? Does it complement the product? Is the culture compatible? Do you have executive support in the partner? Because if you haven't got executive support, you're just going to be another vendor on a long list of vendors. And unless there's some sort of incentive for the local sales team and local company to push your product, why would they bother to change their focus from what's doing 80% of their revenue or 80% of their profit to this newfangled proposition from a foreign country? Is not going to get a lot of shout unless the executives are saying, actually, this 100% complements what we're selling. It's great for our customers.
Well, Mike, it was definitely a great learning from you. In fact, next week we'll talk more about the feature list of all the ScaleUp Arena feature list. But I think this is just a teaser, and you know, just a saying that when the tough is there, you have the help to get tougher and get going in the form of ScaleUp Arena. So, Mike, thank you so much for joining us today and giving a taste of what the ScaleUp Arena can do for people from India and from world over. Thank you so much, Mike.
Pleasure, Chandra. Have a good week. Have a good week.
Thank you, Mike, and we will catch up next week. Same time, same day.